the senators proposed today that we be cut only $118. Well, that's very nice. Will that bill get through? Who knows? Sitting in the legislature right now are other bills that says that all public employees will pay a percentage of their retirement. They'll pay a percentage of their health insurance. One bill says you'll take a pay cut and you'll get no money, additional money for 3 years. So those are all legislative acts that are currently out there. Which ones will actually come to fruition? Who knows? They don't know. And yet we're sitting here today saying, what can we do to provide the very best education for our kids, to be competitive in the world that they're going to live in? The schools that I went to at my age and the demands of education have certainly changed from today. So we need to provide the very best education possible. Believe me, watch what happens in the political elections coming up. They're going to say schools need to consolidate. And they're going to do it if we don't do something. So with that, we're saying let's look at our budgets for next year. And next year, we all can survive separately. Our fund equities will be down to almost nil for Deerfield. Britton, Mr. Capellan can talk about that.
At the end of next year. At the end of next year, we'd be in essence at zero in Deerfield.
So, looking at a budget for 211, 212, well, our problems are very easy. One, we don't know what the revenue is going to be for 11, 12. We don't even know what it's going to be for 10, 11. But we know more than likely it's probably not going to increase a lot. I don't think you're going to find a state representative or a state senator running for election in November saying, I want to raise your taxes for education.
If you're sitting on $1 million fund equity, remove 15% of that right out of your state aid. You know, because the idea of the legislator that introduced the bill said, wait a minute, that's state money, and you guys shouldn't have been sitting on it. You know, even though we've been prudent, we've been, you know, fiscally responsible, now they want to make sure we use those funds up. So that's why it's so difficult as we look to the 11-12 budget, because those other funds aren't there.
Does everyone understand what we mean by fund equity? I see some people understand,
no.
Some people not. It's not this big money reserve that we're both sitting on and just pulling out when we need it. We're actually using that money every year to pay what we're short on our budget.
You know, just the athletic bus. It's maybe be cheaper for us to use Britain's drivers, possibly. We have to look into those things. We also know that the business office has people that will be retiring. We'll be eliminating some administrative positions. We have areas of contracted services that we can look at. All total, without doing anything more than a few of those things, the athletic director's position could be looked at and changed. We could have saved between $250,000 and $275,000.
I sit there and I think of, well, we could gain us a few more years if I cut this, 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 and this. And we could make some severe cuts to our curriculum, and we could buy ourselves another year. And then I think of, and Deerfield could do the same, and you've already been making some big cuts. But then I think of, what are we providing for our students? And how are we getting our students prepared to compete with other kids around the state and now around the country, and then around the world? Because as you all know, we're in a global economy. So when I looked at this, is it better to offer the best we can for our current students, for what we can afford, or is it best to cut it down to, you know, a bare bones and this is all we have, and if you don't like it, you know, so when I put this curriculum together, when we put this curriculum together, there's a high school curriculum here that for you to look at, and then the shorter column is a middle school curriculum. With this curriculum, there is very much an increase in courses, and with some of the parents, if you're not aware, schools are different than when we went to school.
Is it going to be different? Absolutely. Is it going to be a little difficult? Maybe. Difficult for who? Adults, not kids. Kids can acclimate themselves very well because of the world they live in. My granddaughter can text faster than I can talk, and I don't know how you can move your fingers that fast, but they do those things. I can turn my computer on and work with it. If it crashes, I yell help. My 5-year-old grandson in Florida has his own website. I don't understand. He's only 5. So, it's a whole different world that we live in, and it's okay. We just gotta prepare those kids for that world. And if it means this, if I can provide 31 electives for kids in Deerfield and Britain, doggone it, we need to do it. You know, overall, the little things that may make a difference to you, but look your kid in the eye and say, I don't want the very best for you. It's because I've got my opinion. Shame on you, because you're hurting other kids too. Once the board can make a decision, then we need to get the staffs to sit down together, Britain and Deerfield, and work through the things that need to be worked through. You know, it'll be fine. You know, it's going to be different, but it's okay. And so, you know, we don't have all those answers to all those little things that we need to look at. I mean, we look at textbooks and different things, and, you know, so we can look at those things and sit down and work on those things. So, you know, once the boards decide what and if we're going to do something, then our next step is to get the staffs together.
What we've been discussing all along was the elementary in each school, each having their own elementary. That's allowing us to share the services or consolidate, still have our community identity, and which we feel is important, obviously, to have a school in each of our towns. That's very important.
In my opinion, Greg, right now, currently neither building is large enough to hold everybody. You know what I mean? They're just not, and this is, I mean, both the schools are too nice a facility and they mean too much to our communities for us not to utilize them. And right now, Britain doesn't have the room for this many students, nor does Deerfield.
Well, another thing, I want to make a comment that, another thing that's very important to both districts are the smaller class sizes. And this schedule accommodates that, which is,
We'd be a little larger than Morenci, but we're still going to be 820 students. You know, 800, 820. That's what we've
Still have a lot to offer.
and you have a lot to offer.
Still be a school of choice. Based on population.
You know, the ISD would appoint members from these board to fill in that.
There's no requirement to do that.
There's no requirement.
But more than likely that's what.
Right. So that's, we both have debt. Britain has a debt and Deerfield has a debt. Those debts stay with your community. Those debts are your debts that you voted on and you're stuck with them for 3 years. Now after that 3rd year, the community can decide if they want to combine the debts. And sometimes this is why we're doing it. We're doing it so that we can offer these courses to our students so that they can have careers and jobs and be successful. Come back and pay taxes so we have jobs. You know? We got to have that. That's what we have to do. We have to provide. The circle of life. The circle of life. But this is the first decade of students, or of people that really haven't had the support of education. You know, my grandparents would have never considered saying, well, my kids are through. And, you know, people just, they know you keep paying forward. You pay forward because my kids are gone, but yet, and that's how the education in Michigan has been for so many years.
need a motion to move forward with the consolidation plan as presented.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Doug and supported by Kevin to move forward with the consolidation plan as present. We'll do roll call vote, starting with Beth.
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Tanya? Yes. Liz? Yes. Liz?
Motion to approve this resolution, to move forward with the consolidation plan as presented.
Make a motion to move forward.
Cannon,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Albert,
Yes.
Crowley,
Yes.
Ost.
Yes.
Okay. 5 and 9 through 12 in Deerfield as K through 8, as presented by Mr. Fauble and Mr. Pelham. Roll call vote. Tanya? Yes. Kevin?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Liz? Yes. 6 ayes. 6 ayes.
Building, middle school being, both buildings having an elementary. Middle school being at Deerfield, high school being at. That's what this is. Outside.
Cannon,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes, I'm sorry, I wasn't
Oh,
listening.